You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we have the tail end of the India v England T20 series to talk about. Did India cheat? Yes, and we're going to give you all the reasons why. Then there's the 150-run shellacking that England took. Nice work, Abhishek Sharma. But that'll take the back seat to just a long discussion about India cheating, I think. Following that, we've got Ross's reaction to the sales in the 100, maybe a little bit of women's Ashes, autopsy. And Australia won a game against Sri Lanka that I think they were always going to win. So, yeah, we'll give that 35 seconds somewhere near the end of the show. Ross, you are with me. I am Jack Hope. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Tottenham won, so I'm super happy. We've ended.
Who did they play? The Hotspurs.
Yeah, the Hotspurs. Brentford, the mighty Brentford have been overcome. Yeah, with a back to the walls performance from Spurs. So yeah, I mean, I've got actually a retro kit on, but you can't see underneath here. But yes, very. No. So is that happy times in the Leg household?
Yeah, right. Well, aside from the Hotspurs winning, it's not that happy because England have been smashed. Look, we've got two games to talk. We've got two games to talk about. One of them isn't very interesting, to be frank. The other one, all sorts of scenes and loads of hot take potential. So I think we should start with the fourth T20 between India and England. Ross, have you got the scorecard up there? Do you want to talk people through roughly what happened? And if you haven't got the scorecard, just give us a vibes account.
Yeah. So the whole thing here was all about the doob, the Dion Dublin instrument reincarnated as a cricketer, and he was India are good at T20 cricket. Let's just get that straight. Although today proved that, but in the fourth series match of the series, they were up against it. Mahmood came in and he took 3 wickets up front, dismissing Samson, Tilak Varma and Suryakumar Yadav, all in quick succession. But Abhishek and Rinku Singh kind of managed to keep it together. But then it was all about what the doob could do. And he batted extremely well with Hardik Pandya, both of whom got 53, coincidentally. But the controversy happened in the very last over, which Craig Overton was bowling. And doob got hit on the head.
Jamie Overton, come on.
What did I say?
Craig
Overton, whatever. They're twins.
One of the
it's really easy to get them confused.
No. It's not the worst mistake anyone's ever made on the show, but like, I'm just looking out for you. Carry on. Yeah, okay, so there's he's knocked out.
Yeah, he's taken one to the head. Doesn't know what day of the week it is, apparently, but then continues to bat for 2 more balls. And that's what happens with head injuries, isn't it? Typically, like you get rattled in the head, and then you're just absolutely fine just to carry on. And they said that he had got a concussion. So concussions are not to be meddled with, really. Quite a serious condition. Can't even go to sleep if you have a concussion. And what they then did was bring in Harshit Rana. Harshit Rana, as our wonderful listeners would know, is a frontline pace bowler. Doob is a number 4 batter, a middle order hitter, extremely good against spin. We just quite like the Doob on this show, and he's down as an all rounder because he bowls a bit of spin.
He bowls medium pace. Come on, let's give him his due. He can get it through at least 70 miles an hour.
Okay, fine.
Probably not much more.
But when it goes, it's the concussion rule is to have a like for like replacement, and I think that the way in which you say an off spinning all rounder is a bit different from having Harshit Rana come into your team. Harshit Rana is down as a batter who bowls a bit. I think it's kind of what the argument was. It's just like, I'm not sure that's true. He's a bit of a what's the word? He's more of a tail ender than anything else, right? So he's
we'll get to the particulars. What did he do?
Yeah.
What did he do?
He came in and he took loads of wickets, Jack. That's what really happened.
Pretty much.
England started okay. The spinners, as with all of this T20 series, kind of wrestled back control. But then Harshit Rana then dismissed Liam Livingstone, Bethel, and Jamie Overton, and picked up man of the match as well. Let's go with it. And that was all okay. So he pretty much won them the game when it was. I think England probably could have won it even with Harshit Rana on the field, right? But they didn't, and Harshit Rana took 3 wickets and did better than Doob would have done. And you look at the setup of India's team, it was clear that they were missing a bit of a frontline bowler. So it was quite handy, really, Doob getting hit on the head.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's bending of the rules, and then there's, blatant cheating, and I think this very much falls into the blatant cheating category. I was looking into this because there'll be some rules doctors out there, and I have seen some hot takes saying that this substitution, and just for because lots of people who listen to this podcast from England won't follow the IPL that closely. Shivam Dube is a frontline excellent batter. He proved that. He gets substituted out for a guy who, in a push might bat number 10. In a push might bat number 10. I think he's got like 2 professional T20 runs or something absolutely preposterous like that. Shivam Dube, if you want to flip the stats around, he does bowl sometimes. He has 52 wickets in 153 professional T20 matches. So like it's not like he never bowls. His economy is 9, by the way, in that time. Harshit Rana, on the other hand, has 28 wickets in 25 matches, which is, I think they're, just on the top of my head, I think that's 3 times the rate of wickets that Harshit Rana is taking versus Dube. Harshit Rana pretty much bowls out every game. Dube is lucky if he gets an over. To be honest,
Bowled today, which was quite funny.
Oh well, yeah, like I'm sure he did in the absolute annihilation. They're trying to save a little bit of face. The rules do permit, or the rules actually they don't really permit it. What the rules say is that the concussion replacement should be a like for like player, and the ICC match referee should consider the role that the player should do. So from India's perspective, they're saying Harshit Rana like for like, and maybe their argument is that the match referee should then take over and maybe make some stipulations like this guy shouldn't bowl, which I don't think, Dube would. He certainly wouldn't have bowled 2 of the last 5 overs, including the 19th over. Like, that's certainly not he might have turned his arm over in the 8th over of the game or something like that. He's not your main death bowler in these circumstances. If you're interested in who the match referee is, it's a guy called Javagal Srinath. Ross, under or over 290 appearances for India?
I'll go for under.
No, you're wrong. 296 appearances for India. This bloke. So there's I don't know. I'm not going to outright say he's fucked that up, but he clearly. Actually, no, I will. He's outright fucked that up. The whole game, and it is really, really funny. India have obviously tried to pull a fast one, and the match referee really should be, slightly more on his toes than he is here, or at least slightly fairer. I don't know, and maybe he just really wanted India to win as well. What I think you can say is that it made a mockery of the whole game. Like one team played with 12 men, including which basically meant they had an extra frontline bowler and an extra frontline batter. The other team played with 11 men, and it's kind of coincidental on this occasion that the key men on both sides of the ball are that 12th player for India, the guy who takes 3 for 33 off his 4 overs, including the middle order of England, and the guy who salvages 3 for 12. Like it could illustrate more how fucking farcical this is. The whole contest was a joke at this point, I think. And you said that you think India maybe win anyway. Maybe they do. I'm less sure about that. I think India probably picked slightly the wrong team, and they took advantage of that loophole and won. What I will say, just to round off on my thoughts, I don't think England really care. I don't really care. I think it does invalidate this whole game. Like this is, it's not really an even contest, is it? If you do this, but again, and this might be added context for people who are like England fans, kind of slightly more casual when it comes to following what's going on in India. Gautam Gambhir needs a win. He's been should have been pumped 4-1, and Rain made it 3-1 in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Lost 3-0 to New Zealand. Blew a series against Sri Lanka. Like, he's not doing a good job as coach. This series meaningless from an England point of view. And Max and I were talking about that this week. And Brendan McCullum literally came out and said, "We don't care if we win." They're picking a bizarre team. They're trying all sorts of weird shit. Some of their best players seem to be just getting a payday in South Africa and aren't actually here playing in this series. And Gautam Gambhir obviously wants to win. So that, if you want to effectively cheat to do that, sure, it might save his job for a little bit longer. But again, if you want a little bit of added context as to why India might have felt like they needed to do this, there it is. Ross, your thoughts?
Well, maybe they didn't do it on purpose. Maybe Gautam Gambhir he won the IPL with KKR. There's the impact sub rule, or the impact player rule, and maybe it was just like, this is what they were used to, and maybe it was all above board, and they were just as you said, the match referee's at fault. It's not Gautam Gambhir trying to pull a fast one. What is interesting was Jos Buttler's reaction to it, because he came out after the game and was just a bit like, "Oh yeah, kind of like for like, aren't they?" So he called it. It's just like, this is just bullshit. You've got the captain of the England team. I thought, and they named 4 subs, didn't they? Here's our 4 impact players.
Our 4 impact players, yeah. I mean, you can't. There's a slightly bigger thing at play here, and there'll be a few England fans whose piss really got boiled by this.
And to be fair, I think rightly so. I think if you are an England fan and you don't get as much as people go, "Oh, you get all this kind of cricket that's being played." Actually, it doesn't come bigger than England playing against India. India are the best T20 team at the moment in the world, and it is always good seeing that kind of stuff. But it is very, very disappointing, I think, if you actually follow England quite closely.
He makes a mockery of cricket as well. This sort of rule shit. And again, if you're one of the people out there, I'm calling you out specifically. If you're one of the people out there saying, "No, I'm reading the ICC laws and it says match referee may impose such conditions upon identity and involvement of concussion replacement as he or she sees fit in line with blah 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 blah." You are, one, you can read, well done. 2, you need to fucking refocus on how this looks for your sport. It looks fucking stupid that this has been allowed to happen.
And this is like the pinnacle, right? International cricket is as good as it gets. And India are the biggest team. England are the 3rd biggest team in the world. And it's pretty staggering that this happens on there. But it's not the first time, and it kind of puts fuel to the fire, right? People already get annoyed at the fact of the big 3, they're trying to ruin cricket, etc. People already go, "Oh, India, they're always trying to get around the rules. They're always making sure that things work in their favour." And you're just whether it's the making sure that the semi-final was guaranteed at a certain location, which they went on to win, or it was watching the DRS when England were playing in India, and it was clearly a glove and for catching it, and they were just like, no LBW here, mate, and just moved on from the game. The wicket didn't count. They wouldn't go for another view, and so nothing helps on this. And when cricket is supposed to be going through kind of its big moment and making sure that you've got this team in transition, etc., it's really quite disappointing, and it'll put people off, because ultimately the integrity of the competition is brought into question, and it becomes more of an entertainment world wrestling kind of thing, WWE, rather than actually sport itself, which is not what us cricket fans really want.
Yeah, I'm for anyone who wants to bring spirit of cricket into it. This isn't a spirit of cricket thing. This is one team playing with 12 players, the other team playing with 11 players. These are very obvious.
It's a rule.
Anyway, that was that match. I don't know if there's, the 2 key performances are Ravi Bishnoi bowled all right.
I'm liking this India team though, Jack. Some of their performances are pretty. Yeah, so I'm liking this India team. Yeah, really good. They don't need to do it as well. That's also the big thing. It just doesn't need to happen this way. So, but anyway, should we talk about today's game?
Yeah, in today's game, India batted first and scored a shit ton of runs. That's the really, really brief summary of that. Star man, was Abhishek Sharma. He hit 135 runs off just 54 balls. What's that strike rate off the top of your head? I haven't got the scorecard up. I'm just doing this from memory. It's 250 odd, isn't it? Might be bang on 250. That's pretty good. If you're new to cricket, 135, 50.
13.
Mate, you're happy if your entire team hits 13 sixes. You're ecstatic, I think, if your entire team hits 13 sixes in a T20. This bloke did it by himself in 54 balls. He's in a quarter of the balls, 6. Good. That is good. England get hosed. 2 bowlers go for less than 13 runs and over. That's not very good. And then with the bat, they're pretty pants. They have to go for it, don't they? Didn't really work. Bowled out for 97. Over the 4 matches that we probably should consider as real cricket matches, 3-1 India. And I'd say, Ross, probably a fair result. Anything that you would pick up on from this game?
No, just going back to what you said earlier, that they're kind of picking a bit of a weird team, aren't they? Like if you go to India, it's quite interesting to be like, no, we're going to go for a full pace attack. And some of their bowling tactics have been a bit strange anyway. You saw today bowling bouncers to some of these guys. They're quite good at playing bouncers. And Abhishek Sharma in particular was quite good at playing bouncers. And that ploy, it kind of screams to me again like game management and the tactics of what they're doing. Are they just be like, right, we are trying out for a couple of these roles, go and bowl on this, I don't really care what the result is, I want you to bowl this kind of thing. And it's a little bit weird if you're an England fan, kind of go, well, why are you doing that in a game situation? Surely we should be picking some other spinners. Surely there should be some different players actually playing in this team. Alistair Cook raising on the commentary earlier that Liam Dawson should well be in this England lineup if they're playing in India and doing this kind of stuff. He's a very good T20 player, but he's off in South Africa kind of playing in the SA20. So it's one of those things, Jack. It's weird to follow this England team at the moment because every single time they're coming out to the media, they're just like, oh, it doesn't really matter the result. But sooner or later, the results do matter. And England have been pants for a fair while now, it feels, both in T20 cricket, ODI cricket, and in Test cricket.
I can see both sides of the argument, I think, here. I think if you're an England fan, you want to see England go out and try and win every game. And doing things which even if you're a fairly casual T20 fan, I think you can see the flaws in the lineup that they're picking for the venues that they're playing at. On the other hand, like McCullum's just taken over. He's obviously trying to establish what his team are going to be about and how they're going to play and what their playing style, if you like, will be. So maybe there is an element of him trying to make a mark, separate himself from Trescothick and Matthew Mott and all the stuff. The pretty limp cricket that came before, and certainly packing your team with loads of guys who can bowl over 90 miles an hour is it's not limp. It's macho man cricket that they're trying to play there. There's none of this fucking roll it out the side of your hand nonsense. Just come in and bowl gas, brace that front leg. Brace that front leg. Let's get some torque through that elbow.
Can we watch the videos of these batters? Can we look at their kind of weaknesses? No, mate. Bowl fast. Bowl fast.
And that's the thing they go. And then on the batting side, they're basically doing the same. Yeah, should we do some shot selection? Nah, we'll just put loads of guys who are going to swing wildly in the lineup and hope for the best. And maybe over a period of time, we will get more of an insight into what they're trying to do. I do think that some of the players that are at the SA20, maybe even the ILT20, would be close to or in the team. They're not. They haven't picked them. They've let them have a payday, and I can see the argument for that. I can also see an argument for looking at what the next thing is from an England perspective, and the next thing is the Champions Trophy. And I wonder whether they've got half an eye on the kind of maybe they think 3 or 4 quick. Maybe they're not going to play it. They're not going to play Tom Hartley. I don't think in in Pakistan for that series. And I think, maybe it would be Dawson, maybe it would be Tom Hartley that would come in as your extra spinner for England here. I don't think he's going to play there. So maybe they're just saying, let's get the bowling group together. Let's get them used to bowling with each other. Let's get Jos Buttler a decent look at how all these guys go, see who can do what. I agree with you. I think it's weird.
It's like
And England have they couldn't be more clear that they don't care about winning these matches. Like, they're picking a weird team, they're doing weird stuff. They're literally saying to the media, "We don't care if we win." Now, like I say, if you are a hardcore England fan, that's probably a little bit tough to take. You're paying your TNT subscription to watch these boys. Or, I hope you didn't. Maybe you've flown out to Mumbai to see these boys, and they're doing this sort of nonsense. Not really challenging India, particularly. I would say, and coming up with some sort of slightly weird tactics as well with the bouncer stuff. Again, I feel like I've said this a few times. If a little bit of context at this ground. I know it looks like an absolute dicking by India, and in many respects it is. 247 runs is a lot. It's probably not quite as many as it does actually appear, though. Like, it is a high scoring ground. Abhishek Sharma is a nutcase of a batter, and if he gets going, it's going to go. And he's hitting some balls 59 meters, and they're going 4 yards, 4 meters over the boundary. So your margin for error is basically non-existent. You can make it worse by bowling balls that are more likely to go 59 meters for 6, rather than maybe going on the floor or something like that. But I don't know where I come down on this, to be honest. Like, I think if I'm England, I literally I think that's probably where I'm probably more in the McCullum camp. I don't think they care about this series. I think they're asking some other questions, and that is a bit pathetic. If you are an England fan, you probably are a bit disappointed with. Well, you've got to be disappointed, right? You just lost by 150 runs. Like, a bloke you probably never heard about has hit 135 or 54 balls. But zoom out a second. I think I actually, I think England have taken a pacing, but I think they're probably closer to knowing what they want to do than with some of the pacings that they've taken in the last 2 years, where it looks like them a team that's kind of going nowhere. Yeah. I don't know if you agree with any of that.
No, I don't disagree with what they're trying to do. It's just it's pieces that it's difficult to take. I just think because we seem to be doing that in all formats of the game at the moment. I think that's what the problem is for me. But India, on the other hand, under Sky's captaincy, they've jettisoned the old guard. They've got in the fresh talent who's been lighting up the IPL in the last couple of seasons. A team who kind of knows what their roles are, and they're playing good T20 cricket. It's fearless, and I think they've got such a wide array of talent that it really does work. And you've even seen with some of the rotation that's kind of gone through this series, working quite nicely. And good to see people like Hardik Pandya kind of back bowling again, seeing him fit. And the spinners have done a fantastic job, in particular Chakravarti, who, not 2 years ago was told, no, you're overweight, you're not allowed to play for India. And so there's a lot to be said for actually some of these slight redemption arcs and kind of the upbeat in kind of professionalism for some of the players, and it's really starting to pay off. So whilst England are going through a big transition period, it feels like India are on the other side of that. They're obviously T20 champions. Now they've got this kind of fresh team that I think is going to be really difficult to kind of get past as well moving forward in the next T20 World Cup.
Yeah, and I'm saying India really, really want to win this series, and I think they do, but they also didn't pick Bumrah. Bumrah's injured. Bumrah's not there. No Kuldeep Yadav, like he'd be there or thereabouts as well, wouldn't he? Arshdeep didn't play in this last game, and he's got about 3,000 wickets in T20 eyes. Like there's a very full cupboard, and arguably this isn't actually. Yeah, I think it's pretty close to India's best 11, but arguably it isn't quite the best 11. Weird series overall, I would say. 2 games where England just didn't compete whatsoever. two decent, England win a game, a couple of other decent games, one with some farcical rule breaking or farcical rule enforcement, whichever way however you want to phrase that. One team actually trying to win, one coach under pressure, one other team with a new coach who seemingly doesn't care at all. Buttler, in theory, should be under pressure, but realistically, who are they going to make the captain? There's no other option, so he's sticking around. Quite good fun, I'd say. It was sort of
entertaining. It's more entertaining than some other bits of cricket, and I don't know, it's whetted the appetite for the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, 3 ODIs coming up. They'll probably be fun. There'll be 3 ODIs.
I think
that
but this is going to be important, right? The Champions Trophy's kind of 50-50, and the kind of the ODI format, and you want now they're going to take these probably a little bit more seriously, right? So actually, you want out of the next 3 games to start to see this England team actually be like, right, this is the 11 that we're probably going to look to try and play. This is what we're going to try and do, but.
You would hope so. I don't know. There's any guarantee of that, but you would hope that England do that. There is less sort of fucking around, basically, like picking weird teams, bowling weirdly.
Yeah, I don't want to be having to do some mental gymnastics and trying to justify and try and look into my magic ball to figure out what's going on in Brendan McCullum's head. I'll just be like, oh no, they've picked quite a good cricket team. Well, there's plenty of good players England have available. It's not like we've got the cupboards are bare, to kind of continue your analogy. Like England have got some decent players. Maybe they're not as good as India, fine, but at least put the right ingredients to make a fucking cake. Come on.
No, I agree. I mean, and at some point, even if it isn't this series, you do have to try and win the Champions Trophy. You can't after you get knocked out in the group stage be like, oh, we learnt loads for the World Cup in 3 years' time. Like there is a here and now coming up for England. Yeah. Like they have to think about that. And same for the Test matches against India in the summer. There's you can lose a match to Sri Lanka and laugh it off. Say our captain was injured, our opening batter wasn't around. You can even go to Pakistan and be spun out by
an old man
on a joke wicket like Noman Ali, and say and sort of blag it and say, oh, we learnt a lot. But soon, the next 4 or 5 months, I think, are going to be quite big for McCullum. I think you have to show up at this Champions Trophy, and you have to do something in the summer. Otherwise, it will look like both teams are kind of going backwards. And I think the sheen very much will be off. And if it isn't already, I mean, I think there are some England fans who probably still upset about Ben Stokes declaring at Edgbaston, which is their want. Anyway, should we take a break? We'll come back. Oh, go on. Yeah, finish us off, and then we'll take.
I was going to say, just that kind of malaise is across both, right? The women have been decimated 16-0 in the Ashes against Australia, and it's just a little bit of a bit of a tetchy time, I think, for England cricket in general, right? You've got obviously all the 100 stuff that we're going to come on to in a second, but at the top level in the game, like, England are not firing on any cylinders at the moment, and it's you've got to question whether the leadership is in the right place, the management's in the right place, and actually are we getting the best out and putting out the best teams? And kind of what are the problems? And I think Claire Connor's come out today and said there's going to be a review or an inquiry, whichever language she wants to use, around why England are so shit against Australia and why the women's team is struggling, but the men aren't doing much better either.
Well, if we go, we might as well wrap up on the women's Ashes then. We'll just do an England segment, and then we can come back and do cricket business. But like and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. So there is sort of not that much left to say. But that was a shambles. Like they competed in one match, I think, of the 7. They were battered quite a few times. The Test match was an absolute embarrassment. They clearly knew they were going to lose. But they didn't go into that match on the front foot at all. They were a beaten team, and they played like it. Did they drop 8 catches in a day? And that's hideous. That's embarrassing. That's
the catches really are watching the highlights, and you're sitting there just like, oh my god! Like our amateur team takes most of those catches.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think to some extent, if you're going to have a little bit of sympathy for the women's team, but I think Australia are that much better than them. Like I don't know. I don't know whether there's different players that they could have picked, or if they. I don't think it wasn't a case of trying harder. I just think that they're probably not that good, and Australia probably are that good, and you get the right combination, and you have a little bit of bad luck, which arguably England did have. You would think that they would catch, even a bad team would catch more than they did during the series. Like it seemed like an exceptionally poor run of catching, and that can happen. Joe Root gets golden ducks. That's not because he's bad; it's because he's probably a little bit unlucky that ball. So I think there was an element of that, but it really did show him up for how big that golf is. I think,
big time.
A little bit, only a little bit of luck goes against you, and you get annihilated. 16. Like it's easy, I think, to win one white ball match out of those 6. Like I don't think you have to be anywhere near as good as Australia to win one. Like it should be possible to capitalize on what they bowled them out for under 200 in a 50 over match. Like you should be winning that game. But they didn't because they're bad. So that's it. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back, talk about the 100.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast, where we have a couple more topics to talk about. We'll start with the 100. Ross, it's big fire sale time. It's big fire sale time for the ECB. They were hoping to raise £350 million. I think that was their low figure, and up to £450 million from the sale of 49% of 8 of the, I was going to say T20 franchises, but they're not, are they? 8 of the 100 franchises.
The future T20 franchises.
After 4 sales, they're doing pretty well, Ross. Max and I talked a little bit about Oval going for a load of bunts, and then Birmingham going for quite a lot of cash as well. The whole thing was kind of, Max and I were quite shocked at the price that someone paid for the Oval, considering they played 60 fixtures if you combined the men and the women's teams. I think it was under 60 fixtures. London Spirit, who have been a shambles in their history, obviously benefit from playing at Lords, so theoretically an attractive proposition, and you can ditch the management, I guess, once you bought the franchise. Valued at about £295 million. That's about a third of an IPL franchise for people who want a reference. It's also about it's a little bit more than the price Roman Abramovich paid for Chelsea when you adjust for inflation. So that was about 250 million if you adjust for inflation. The actual price was 140, but money doesn't quite work like that. Ross, that's a lot of money for a bunch of tech bros from Silicon Valley to fork out on a bag of crisps with a cricket bat.
Yeah, well, I think the London Spirit in the men's side of things has been just shocking. Like no real guidance of what they're trying to actually achieve. The women, I think, are defending champions, and they've done kind of okay, obviously, in that space. But it is weird to me, Jack, that you've got there's so much interest in it anyway. Considering everyone, it's divided an awful lot of the fans in England. But what are they actually buying in this space? Well, they spent 144 million quid. What do you truly get? Because you've not got elite level players that you can kind of trade for cash, right? Like you've got, which Roman Abramovich did have, and obviously was very successful at Chelsea. You don't own the ground. So MCC own Lords, and there's no way they're going to give that up, are they? In that space, they even got gifted the other 50 or the other 49% by the ECB to the MCC, and so I'm kind of sitting there like, what is the purpose? And on our Discord channel, which you can sign up to if you get onto our Patreon, patreon.com/cricket podcast, it was about access Jack. So I liked this. I think it was from Dan and Alex highlighting it. Access to these sports stars might have been, yeah. But even then, like getting access to Dan Lawrence, I could probably email him. He'd probably come on this podcast. Like, I can get that access if I really need to.
Not anymore.
I don't need to spend 144 million quid to be like, right. And as you say, they don't even play that many games. So whilst we were having a go at England in the first part of this show, fair play ECB. Like absolutely, like they've made something out of nothing, and yeah, the money is going to be much needed. And I hope that the split and where it actually goes to, where it gets allocated to, actually happens, and it does improve grassroots cricket, and it does improve kind of the health of the game, because it was not quite on its last legs, but was struggling in some aspects following COVID and some of the other financial mismanagement that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, like it is one of those weird things where I personally will probably stand to benefit from this happening.
That's because you own 25% of the overall Invincibles, don't you?
That is true, yeah. No, but you know, apparently 10% of the money from these sales is going to go to grassroots cricket. I think 20% is going to go to the non-100 aligned counties. So this is a lot of money we're talking about now. They were hoping for 350 million quid. I think just counting it up here, they're on about 300 already with 4 to go. They think they might get they might get 100 for Manchester Originals. So that would get
279 they're on at the moment.
Oh, okay, so let's say they get a valuation of 100 for the Manchester Originals. So they're up to 325 in equity sales. Mm-hmm. The other three, I mean, even Welsh Fires have gone for a valuation of 70 million. So someone has put down 30 million quid to buy a stake in. Nobody even goes to them. Like nobody goes to watch this team play cricket. Like they're an irrelevance. It is astonishing to me. Like I said, I do think that I will personally benefit, and probably English cricket will benefit from this, just because of the sheer volume of cash that we're talking about. Like this, even if you screw this up, it's so much money that you'll probably do something right with it. Like you could waste 80% of it, and it will still probably make a material difference to the health of English cricket. It is fucking disgraceful.
But
I think.
But this is finally the benefit of having a load of these tech bros kind of in this space, right? Like a load of the times they are lunatics, and you're just like, oh my god, this person is actually quite dangerous. But it's really good having tech people who are Indian and they like cricket. Like it is fucking brilliant. Like it is if you want to sell like your cricket franchise. It isn't necessary. I mean, like it's so much money that these people are spending on this. It's like an amount of money that, frankly, I'm dubious as to whether anyone should ever spend on this kind of frivolous activity. Like, there's no the upside I can see for spending this amount of money on London Spirit is pretty minimal. Even if you assume that they'll expand out and do a TV deal with India, like I still think you're looking at a fairly meager taking. What you're hoping for, effectively, is the sheer scarcity of sports teams and the sheer number of billionaires being created through all the money in society being funneled upwards, that you're getting hold of an asset that will only go up in value, because the demand for them is ever increasing, because the number of billionaires is ever increasing, and you've got one. Like, it doesn't really matter what it is, like, but you've got one. Yeah, maybe cricket's your interest, so that's what you've lumped on. But like, it is. Well, yeah. Well, when AI takes all the job, who's going to have the money? Yeah, but that's
who's going to have the money? The people who own the fucking AI are. And like, then what do they want? What does Sam Altman want to do? Eventually he'll probably want to buy an NFL team or something, won't he? I don't know what sport he's into, but it's the same for this is basically the manifestation of a problem with your society. This is my honest take on this.
I'm actually more aligned with your view on this than I thought it'd be, if I'm perfectly honest. Like,
maybe we should. I mean, we were joking about this as well. Maybe this is actually a model. Like, we should, do a TV deal for 24 hours in A&E, get TNT Sports involved, Get all the fucking doctors to wear Skips t-shirts in one hospital and wear hula hoops scrubs in another one, and see if we can sell some hospital franchises. Maybe this is the way we can have a little bit of wealth redistribution here. Con a load of billionaires who are into investing into 24-hour A&E franchises.
It's on for, and what's also funny about the 100, Jack, is that it's on for like just a month, right? It's like they've done the most expensive timeshare of all time.
That's effectively what it is. It's a timeshare for billionaires.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
You want to be in London in August next year? Oh yeah, I've got a little place just down by St John's Wood, actually. Oh yeah, I could if you want.
I just want to be clear as well. Like, I'm not really having a go at these people like, on an individual level. If I was a billionaire, damn right, I'd buy 100 team. Like, it will be fun. It will be fun to have one. And like I say, they're making more billionaires at a rate that they're not making more sports franchises. So you get something, and it probably will go up in value. Like that's the kind of hilarious thing here. Like, it probably, if you want to buy Welsh Fire in 10 years, assuming anyone in this, assuming global warming hasn't ended the
Wales.
What's it called? Yeah, and ended Wales. And there have been some pretty bad storms across the south of Wales. So who knows? Maybe this is maybe I'm being more prescient than I think here. But I reckon it'll probably be worth more than 70 million. I think you'll look at that and be like, good investment by me when I bought it. Although, like, looking at it at the time, really, it's a symptom of a problem. It's not great business, is it? Like this, it's also borderline ludicrous business.
Yeah, and it's also good that these teams. I just like the fact, Jack, that we're on the rocket ship. We're going to the moon, just like Bitcoin, just everything else, and that's where English cricket is now going. So it's going to be mad when someone pays like 50 million quid for something that's based in Leeds. So it's going to be excellent. So I'm all here for it.
Leeds. I'm a big fan of Leeds. I'm not bad. I like Cardiff as well. Nobody goes to watch cricket there, but like I like it. It's the places that all these places are. All these teams are based in. Good areas. 100 is a watchable competition. Like, it's on a nice time for me personally. Most of the players I know. Generally speaking, is fairly high quality. You can see that it is an attractive product. I mean, these teams are selling for a lot more. That everyone was talking about. Oh, Major League Cricket cutting in on English cricket's action. I mean, like, what did it cost to get a Major League Cricket team? Like, comparatively, nothing. Absolute peanuts. The amount of money being spent here is like the amount of money spent on 49% of London Spirit. I think is more than all 6 of the SA20 franchises. Like, this is. It's a big deal. Like, people, and
it's not all gone it's not all just gone to the other franchise owners as well, right? The Ambanis have picked up under Reliance Group. They've picked up Oval, but it's not just gone to all of the other pieces. And I think that was part of the risk, right? Where you've got almost a lot of cricket power in 2 or 3 rich people's hands, where they're, we've got franchises all over the world, we own all of the players, like, you kind of do what we want, really. You want to avoid that. This is bringing some fresh people. I'm excited to see what lunacy happens. That's also what this brings as well. It's a lot of personalities that are coming into this now.
I don't necessarily have. I think it probably will be good. Like I've said, I think it will be good for cricket. I think if I was a billionaire, I'd probably do something similar. But I am like, come on, like, we've all got to look at this and be like, a fucking cricket team is not worth 295 million. A cricket team that plays 8 matches a year, or 16 if you combine them both, like, where they don't even sell out. You can buy tickets a fucking day before. They're 20 quid. Like, you've got to look at that and be dubious.
It's just a plaything. Like, it's a plaything. But as you say, if I was a billionaire, I would definitely buy a cricket club. 100%. There's no 2 ways about it. Like, just imagine what you can do.
Yacht, another yacht, or do I want Welsh Fire?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of the owners end up playing for one of the franchises at some point. That's on my bingo list for the next decade. Someone pays so much money for something, just like, I'm going to go open the batting. I paid 500 million for this. I'm going to open the batting. Okay.
I'm honestly surprised it doesn't happen more. Like, especially
what's happened in the Bangladeshi league.
Well, I mean, obviously they've run out of money, haven't they? So, like, No, I mean like in lower level English football. I'm surprised that you get a lot of dead rubbers at the end of the year. I'm surprised that an owner, and a few of them they've got some big egos floating around. if you're the owner of Mansfield football team or whatever, like you are the biggest show in town. Big fish, small pond, but you are the big fish. I'm surprised you don't see a run out for the odd owner.
I own all the
in the
local
40.
supermarkets around here. That's where I've made my money.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and play up front and take this penalty. Subs himself on.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I think that's that. Wrap up the show. Australia absolutely caned Sri Lanka. Any thoughts on that?
Good to see Khawaja hit a double century. I do like Khawaja. He's had a bit of a bad run of form, really. Hasn't been at his best, but looked pretty good. Obviously, Steve Smith was captaining the side in absence of Pat Cumdog. And yeah, overall, it's an annihilation in some would say tricky conditions. But I mean, you hit 654. Like that is an insane amount, like absolutely insane. And yeah, it's just a bit disappointing, isn't it? Really, I'm just not sure that someone like Kuhneman should be getting a 9 in a game like this. But you know, there we are. got this guy. Yeah, so fair play to him.
I mean, it's one of the things we see more and more in Test match cricket. I think, isn't it? It's such a conditions based sport now. Like you say, I am dubious about Matt Kuhneman's Test match quality, but 18 wickets in 4 matches, an average of 23.8, not bad, is it? Like I wouldn't. I'm not knocking him. How
it's kind of what you said before. Do you remember Baldenia, Old Lemon Land? Like you were just like, yeah, like he absolutely ripped England to shreds. So you were just like, he's never going to play outside of Sri Lanka. He's not going to be good enough. Literally, doesn't happen. So yeah, I'm with you. Disappointing.
But I think the more we see teams do this, and I think we will continue to see teams doing this, like Pakistan, like India, like Sri Lanka, like Bangladesh. I think the more we will see players who basically only play in one part of the world. We saw that already, right? Like that's not anything new, but I think it will become more extreme. And I think frankly, the quality of those players who rack up quite impressive stats, we should be critical of sometimes. Frankly, averaging 20 as a slow left arm bowler in Sri Lanka, I'm not sure that's that impressive an achievement. It is an achievement. It's not Bumrah though, is it? Like he's going on his world tour of destruction, or Rabada. Yeah. Anyway, look, I think that's enough. We'll have a break from podcast, and by break I mean we'll end the podcast, and we'll be back. There's plenty of India-England action coming up, isn't there? So the first ODI that is on Thursday, and then there's one on Sunday and one on Wednesday after that. And we'll be with you to keep you abreast of what's happening in those games.